ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. O Lord, please lead us from unreal to the reality, ignorance to the knowledge, and from death to immortality. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, 5 yes are the best means to realization. So, this is the topic we were discussing. Previous Sunday, we had a talk or discussion on the life and teachings of Vardhamana Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankara of the Jainism. And prior to that, we were discussing the 5 yes are the best means for self realization. And who are the regular listeners of this talks series, you are well aware, or you should be aware this. The talk is based on Swami Virajananda's book called Towards the Goal Supreme, or it is called Paramartha Prasanga. Now, what is this self realization? What is the self? As you all know that consciousness, eternal bliss, or eternal awareness is what called self. So to experience or experiencing who am I, experiencing that I am not the body and mind, rather I am the self, indestructible self. Awareness, consciousness is what self-realization. So according to the Vedanta and according to all the scriptures, either you can say going to heaven, or the non-dualistic philosophy says that one should experience who am I, or who is he, or who is she. So that is the ultimate goal of the human life. Now the great monk, who himself is the self, knower of the self, Brahmagnani, based on his experience, based on his spiritual practices, he has given spiritual tips to all of us. So that has come in the form of a book, Towards the Goal Supreme. So based on this, we are discussing. So if you remember, 2 weeks before, we discussed 2 points, or the two means. One is seva, that is self-service or selfless service. By doing what one can attain, one can reach God. By practicing selfless service, one can attain God, or one can attain self-realization. How? If you heard my Karma Yoga lectures, we have discussed these things in detail. We can very clearly understand that, because unselfishness is God, but unselfishness is God. So by practicing unselfishness, one can attain God, one can attain self. That we have seen in the seva, that is selfless service. And the second one, we were discussing about the swadhyaya, that is self-study. Study of what? Study of mathematics, or study of thermodynamics, or electronics, or computer science? No. It's a self-study. So based on the Vedanta, or on the scriptures, on the teachings of the saints, one has to understand who am I? What is my strength? What is my weakness? So what is my real nature? Where I am and where I'm supposed to go? And what is the right attitude? What is the right view of life? What is the right conduct? All these things comes under Swa Adhyaya. So self means here, self can be thought over one is consciousness. So study of the consciousness. If you see in the modern days, so America and other parts of the world, a lot of they're spending money to study what is consciousness. And so self, that is one. The other from psychological language, or from the Western philosophy point of view, mind, spirit means it is mind. So study of the mind. Because the moment I know my nature of my mind and the way it functions, it is easy for me to control and to streamline it. So these are the two things we were discussing. Now, what are the other 3 yes? The third is the Swami Virajananda is saying that it is sadhana. Sadhana means what? It is practice, spiritual practice or a practice. Now, practice is very, very important. Swami Vivekananda beautifully tells in his one of his lecture, an ounce of practice is much more greater than thousands of libraries. Quote and unquote. An ounce of practice is much more greater than thousands of libraries. So he says that all my teaching can be put in one word that is called practice. He says, practice, practice, practice. We all know a lot of things, but we don't put into practice. What is the difference between a successful people and a common people or the people who have met the failures? Well, the successful people, either in the empirical field or in the spiritual field, so whatever they know, whatever the knowledge they have got, they have translated into experience. They have made it as a fact of experience. And it is same thing with spiritual people and also empirical people or the worldly people. Like for example, someone were dreaming that I would become the best athlete. Then he struggled, he practiced jumping, running, or whatnot, and he became the best athlete. Someone wants to have a God realization or self realization. He struggled, he did immense practice, intense practice, and he reached the goal that is self realization or God realization. So one has to put into practice. So we know what to be done, and most of us we know what we should not do. We know what we should do and we know what we should not do, but we are not able to put into practice. That is the greatest failure for all of us. And this is not the problem for me and for you. And this is not the problem of today's world or yesterday's world. Oh, because of internet and because of the TV, mobile and electronic gadgets, Swamiji, today our minds have been distracted. So it is very difficult for us to put into practice. So many people, they do keep on saying this. Yes. And this problem is way back thousands of years before also. The people have said it is very difficult to put into practice, whatever we know. For example, Duryodhana, who was the great, what do you say, very well-built personality, and he's a prince, and he was born in a royal family. So once Krishna, before the start of Kurukshetra war, Krishna goes to Hastinapura, that's the capital of Kaurava kingdom. So there he meets Duryodhana, and he says, Duryodhana, you are a prince, and your mother is Gandhari, who is a very chaste, wife, and a great lady she is. And your father and your forefathers, they are all from great people and from great dynasty you have come. Your clan is such a beautiful, and whatever you are doing, the way you are working, it doesn't befit you. So why don't you change? Why don't you rectify your mistakes? Why don't you act or behave in such a way that which brings good for you and for your dynasty or for your clan? He uses beautifully. He opens his heart basically as a part of helplessness or whatever in front of Krishna. He says, Hey Vasudeva, O Krishna, Janami dharmam nachame pravrutti. I know what is dharma. Means I know what is to be done. I know what is right, what is ethics, what is good. Janami dharmam nachame pravrutti. I'm not feeling, or my mind is not ready to accept and put into practice. Janami papam. I know what is evil. I know what is immoral. I know what is unethical. I know what is wrong. Nachame nivrutti. But because of the weakness of the mind and because of my tendencies or samskaras, impressions, we say, I am unable to leave this. Kim karniyam Vasudeva. Hey Vasudeva, oh Vasudeva, what shall I do? I am helpless. So this is the status, or this is the state of most of us. We know what to do and we know what we should not do, but we are doing it. That is the problem is. Now, fine. So saying this, can we do whatever we want? No. So understand the nature of the problem. That's what scripture says. Now understand your helplessness. Understand your nature. Understand your limitations. First step for the progress. Fine. After understanding, the second step of progress is what? Accept it. Yes, I've got a problem. I'm too much foodie, and my mind is too much restless, or my mind is too much wandering. I'm not serious about my pursuits of life, our goal. So whatever you have got problem, whatever you have got limitations, we have to accept. That is very important. That is the second step of the progress. So once you understand, once you accept your problem, that itself gives the solution. What is the solution to way out, to get out from this? Then practice, practice, practice. So simply crying, simply blaming the world, simply blaming people, simply blaming XYZ will not stop our problems. That is not the solution to our problems. Accept the reality, take the responsibility and put into action. There can be problems, there can be challenges. Well, accept it and go forward, go forward, go forward. All the great people had faced a lot of difficulties, challenges, adverse circumstances, but they keep on struggled and they were practicing, they were practicing, they were practicing, and they achieved the goal. So that's why Swamiji says an ounce of practice is greater than thousands of books. Now, spiritual practice, if it's say either you can say meditation or repetition of the Lord or singing hymns, then what you say, selfless actions, study of scriptures, all these things can be put under, broadly, we can discuss under sadhana, that is spiritual practice. And now you may get a question, why should we practice or why should we cultivate, why should we do all these things? Why? Because as our mind, so we think actually. For example, there is a green color glass. A glass has been painted a green color. Then, if for example, I'm using a goggles, spectacles, which is in a green color. So wherever I see, the whole world, it looks green color. Now that is replaced by blue color or violet color. Then wherever I see in the on the earth, wherever I see, whatever I see, everything is soaked in the blue color. Everything is looking bluish. Why? Is it the world is really bluish? No. But whereas because I've got a blue colored glass, the whole world is looking blue. So similarly, whatever is in our mind, that is what tendencies we say, impressions. Based on our impressions, our attitudes are developed. Based on our impressions, based on our attitudes, we perceive things, good or bad, right or wrong. So when you practice, what happens? So you are trying to fill your mind with the good thoughts. That's what we mean practice. Fill your mind with high thoughts. Fill your mind with the noble thoughts. Fill your mind with the good thoughts. Then what happens? Then your container called mind is become so pure, so clean, so neat, and with full of noble thoughts. Then you will start seeing, you will start experiencing the nobility. You will start experiencing the good things everywhere. That's the reason. So, Swami Virjanji is saying that you should practice, you should practice, you should practice. And beautifully, he has made a point probably. Just I will read it, then you'll be able to understand. He says, without good tendencies acquired from the past life, one cannot properly understand the scriptures and the instructions of the teacher. One may have attained great heights in learning and intellectuality, or in any other line. One may have high position, name and fame, honor. One may have an excellent business and multimillionaire. But insofar as the subtle truths of the spirit are concerned, one may be as ignorant as a baby and may not easily understand even the simplest things of religion. But if one is truthful, as a faith, simplicity, love, feeling for poor and afflicted, he is blessed. And by the grace of God, he will be able to experience the truth. So basically, he's telling why should we practice? So by spiritual practice or by study or meditation, repetition of the Lord's name, which is called japa, or prayers or studies of the scriptures, what you are saying, what you are doing, you are filling your mind with the good thoughts, high thoughts. Then what happens? That will help you to experience your real nature. So obstacles will be reduced. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, keeps on saying that fill your mind with high thoughts. Why? In Karma Yoga, he beautifully says, because your thoughts thoughts will be converted into samskaras, impressions. And these impressions will act as a fuel, just like for a what you say, white petrol will act as a fuel for plane flights. Similarly, these tendencies, samskaras, will act as a fuel, which will act as a fuel or catalyst force to develop the desires. And as you desire, so you perform actions. And as you perform actions, so you'll be results. And as your results, that is your character. And as your character, so your personality. Now, all these things, if you see, the root is thought. Just a thought, just like a small fire, a small piece of fire can burn the entire forest. So, similarly, one thought can change the world. One thought can change my life. One thought can change my perceptions. So, that is the power of thought. So we have to refine our thinking. We have to purify our thinking. We have to distill, sublimate our thinking. For that, one has to practice. That is called tapas. Tapyati iti tapaha, which burns. What is burning here? It is like a fire burning the log of food and converting into ash. No, here burning means it is cleaning. For example, the gold, when you get from the earth, it is not in a pure format. Then when we burn, then all the impurities are removed, then you get a pure gold. From that you can make ornaments with mixing some alloys or whatever. So similarly, this mind has to be burned. So by burning, all the impurities will be removed. So that burning is called tapas, and the other word is called what? Sadhana. That is what? Practice. So external practices will help to have the external progress, and the spiritual practice helps us to have the self-realization or God realization. Otherwise, what happens? There's a very interesting story. So probably I will tell you, only knowledge alone will not help. Why? So the caption of the story is what? Pseudo Vedantin. Fine. While like there was a Rama Bhatta and Krishna Bhatta, for example. Rama and Krishna, for example, you take for discussion's sake. So there are two people, and they were Pandits. They were well-learned people. They were scholars. I mean, their studies and their understanding and their knowledge was so beautiful. They were good friends, and they were, they used to stay next to each other, and every day they used to meet, and they used to have a cup of milk or coffee, and what all things. But unfortunately, one fine day, for some cause or some reason, they had a very fight, very like fierce battle, we can say. Like there was a fight between them, and their egos were terribly disturbed or hurt. Then from that day, they became the enemies. The whole village was aware of this, because every other day, for some petty reasons, they used to start fighting each other. So the whole village was aware, and they used to say, "Oh, today nothing happened. Oh, maybe tomorrow there will be a fight between these two guys, two pandits." Unfortunately, it was there. Now, once one among them was probably Krishna Bhatta. He was called for a seminar or a workshop to speak on consciousness. Well, he's a well-learned speaker. When a well-learned person, he's a scholar, he's a speaker, beautiful speaker. He's known for his whatever say the way he's to delivering. So because he's coming, so hundreds of people had gathered to listen to his scholastic talk. And as because he has got a good knowledge, he was gone giving delivering a beautiful speech, and people were mesmerized by his memory, by his delivery style, by his language capacity, and sentence constructions, and the knowledge, and the analysis way, etc., etc. While talking, Krishna Bhatta had to tell one Sanskrit, Upanishadic statement from Vedas or Upanishads. That is, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything, whatever exists in this world, everything is what Brahman. Everything is pervaded by consciousness, or everything is consciousness alone. So this is the Upanishadic statement. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. He was supposed to tell. He was about to quote this statement. Immediately, unfortunately, he remembered Rama Bhatta, his great opponent, his great, enemy or whatever. He started feeling, how can I accept this Rama Bhatta as consciousness? No, no, he's such a rogue. He's such a bad guy, whatever it may be. So his mind was not ready to accept at that given point of time that Rama Bhatta is enemy as a Brahman. And of course, he's a Sanskrit person. He at any time he can formulate poems, hymns, and all. So he said, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma Rama Bhattam Vina. He added actually three words. Common people didn't understand that they were listening. What does it mean? In this whole world, everything is Brahman except Rama Bhatta. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Rama Bhattam Vina except Rama Bhatta. No, see, this is what the problem is. He also knows that. He cannot say that actually. When everything is Brahman, how the Rama Bhatta can be away from this? But his knowledge couldn't control his passions, couldn't control his anger, couldn't control his ignorance. So that's why the scriptures and the saints and all of them, they say that you have to practice. So our knowledge has to be translated into action. Our knowledge, if it has to become a matter of experience, if it has to be a matter of fact, a reality for us, we have to do sadhana, we have to do tapas, we have to do penance, we have to do practice, 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 practice. And there is a very interesting thing. One of the great monk, senior monk, who was also the vice president in the Ramakrishna Math, his name is Swami Omkaranandji. He makes a very interesting statement. He says, I mean, if you have no January 1st, we all celebrate as a Kalpataru day because Sri Ramakrishna that day as a wish fulfilling tree. Kalpataru means wish fulfilling tree. So Sri Ramakrishna fulfilled all the wishes of the devotee, or most of the devotees, we can say. So that's why he's known as Kalpataru, wish fulfiller. So he says, Omkaranji, a senior monk, he says, see, we are the children of Kalpataru, that is Sri Ramakrishna, master. So we are sitting near him. We are sitting under the Kalpataru tree. Means we are sitting near him. We have taken shelter at his feet or whatever. That in that sense, he's saying that. So we are sitting under the Kalpataru tree. So whether you like it or not, or whether you want it or not, today or tomorrow, we are going to get the fruit. We are going to get the fruit from the Kalpataru Ruksha. So what is that fruit here? It is immortality. It is self-realization. It is emancipation. It is Kaivalya, Nirvana. That is what here. So you are going to get. But if you want immediately, if you want as soon as possible, then you go and shook the tree, Kalpataru. That is, go and shook the tree, go and shake the tree. Then immediately the fruit will fall. Then you can enjoy. Yes, you go and shake some trees, immediately fruits will fall. For example, it's a mango season in India. If you want, go and pluck the mangoes or shake the mango tree, then mangoes will fall, then you can enjoy. Otherwise, keep on waiting. Someday, mango will fall from the mango tree, then you can enjoy. So what does it mean? What does Omkaranji saying here? Means it is practice. Holy Mother also says beautifully. See, if you're in a boat and if you're in a river, the current itself will take you, no doubt. But if you want to go further fast, then you have to swim. Means the more and more you put into practice, the more and more you try, the more and more you struggle, then you can reaching your ultimate goal. Experiencing the truth, experiencing the reality will be sooner, will be quicker. That is what is called sadhana. So one has to put into practice. We know many things, but why? I know who am I? That is, I am self, I am consciousness, Satchidananda. But small incidents, they are capable of disturbing my mental peace. It is disturbing my mental equilibrium. Why? Because I have not put the theory into practice. I have not practiced the theory and I have not made it as a fact of experience. So that's what we have to do. Now, Swami Vivekananda had to face a lot of problems. His father passed away and he had a poverty, though he was from aristocratic family. And when he went to West, and initially people, because of some reasons, he had to face a lot of physical austerities, physical struggles. Afterwards, because he became so famous, out of jealous, people tried to poison him. And people try to do defaming, character assassination. All the problems he had to face, challenges he had to face, adverse circumstances he had to face. But he was quiet. He was calm. He was composed. And he was teaching the Vedanta. He was giving the spirituality. He was distributing the spirituality to the mankind. Why? Because he was well established in the truth. So whatever the problems comes and it goes, and it is something with material world or with the body and mind, I am the self. And whenever he used to go be in solitude and sit quietly, immediately his mind used to go to the upper ranges or go to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That was his problem. His problem is what? Bringing down the mind. And our problem is what? Taking the mind above. That's all. The difference is what? Swami Vivekananda also have a problem. We also have a problem. What is that? Swami Vivekananda have a problem to bring down the mind. And we have got a problem to uplift the mind. That's all. Now, practice, we said. So, which is the component which is included? One more is called the fourth yes is what? Sanyama. Sanyama is what? It is control. Control of the mind is very, very necessary. Or Sanyama is also can be said dispassion or the Vairagya. So, Abhyasa and Vairagya are the two means to attain the control of the mind or to have the self mastery. All our spiritual practices can be brought under these two words, just two words. One is Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa is practice, Vairagya is dispassion or detachment or control. So many theories have come, so many philosophies have come, either in the management, in the 2 days in the management classes or in the spiritual things. But all of the spiritual sadhanas can be classified under these two headings. One is abhyasa, practice, and the other is vairagya, detachment or dispassion or whatever, or control of the mind. So if you don't control the mind, then what happens? It goes here and there. That's the reason. Kathopanishad tells beautifully. They compare the mind with the horses. Good horses and bad horses. Horses can be good and bad. I don't think, because good man, bad man, fine. Good human being, bad human being. We can say, but how can? Because horses don't harm us. Horses doesn't cheat us. Horses won't tell lie. Then where is the question of good horses and bad horses? From what angle here? When the horses are under our control, for example, I'm riding the horse. If I'm able to tame the horse, if I'm able to control the horse, and if I'm able to lead the horse wherever I wish to go, that is called good horse. Means that is what good mind. So when the mind is under my control, that is what good horse, Kathopanishad says. If I am not able to control my mind, if I am not able to control the horse on which I am sitting, then what happens? If the horse takes wherever it wishes, then what happens? There can be an accident. I may fall in the valley, or I may fall on a thorny bush, or I may go and dash onto the wall, or dash the people, or whatnot. This is called Sadashva and Dushtashva in Kathopanishad. So good mind and bad mind means what? One whose mind is under control is what? Good mind. One whose mind is under not control is what? Bad mind. Good driver. For example, you are driving a vehicle. Good driver will have a absolute road control on speed and clutch or gas or accelerator and steering, all these things. If you are not, then you can meet with an accident. So similarly, this control of the mind by which one can check the wastage of energy, wastage of the time, wastage of the passions or whatever, and you can really achieve many things. Just simple example. For an example, there's a leafy river we have got. Leafy river has been born at some place and it goes and it merges in the sea. Fine. So on the bank of the leafy river, whoever is there, they can draw some water and they can grow something. And people or villages in and around leafy valley, they can take some water, they can draw the water and they can drink or whatever. Now, there is some place which is 100 kilometers away from the leafy river. What about them? If they don't have any other water source except leafy river, then what should they do? Yeah, dig a canal or with a motor or whatever, pull the water. Fine, but all times you may not have same, because now summer is coming, we are at the end of spring, so you may not get the same amount of water all time. So that's how the man started what? He started building a dam. So once you build a dam, what happens? Then water stores. Then whenever you want, you can draw the water, channelize, and you can draw the water wherever you want. Fine. So you control then you build a dam, water gets stored. If you don't do anything, what happens? At some point of time, the water comes to the edge of the dam wall, and if you don't reduce the water, then the walls of the dam will break. The dam will break, isn't it? Then what we should do? Then any engineer does, he does channels or canals. From through channels or canals, they draw the water to the different places, desired places, different cities, or for irrigation, for factories, or for drinking purpose, or for agriculture, whatnot. So the building the dam is what you are controlling the mind, and channelizing or putting canals to the water for the dam is what abhyasa. So controlling the mind is very, very important. If you leave the mind freely, then what happens? It can does all nonsense. That's what we say. Animals and human being, what is the difference? Animals won't have a choice, and human has got a freedom of choice. This is a very, very important point actually. That's why Swami Vivekananda elsewhere in one of his talk he says, there is no good cow and there is no bad cow. Why? Because cow never cheats us. Cow never tells lies. Cow never tells lies and cow never tells truth also. So it is biologically, it has been made, and instinctively, whatever the nature has been provided to that cow, the faculty. So based on that, it works actually. It is sincere, it is good, it is holy for Indians, fine. So there is no evolution in a cow, that because there is no power of, a freedom of choice. Whereas human being has got a freedom of choice. I can tell truth, I can tell lie. I can be honest and I can be cheating. I can be getting up at early morning at 5 a.m. and sit for meditation, and I may get up at 8 a.m. for just because of laziness or because of the lack of control of the mind. So this freedom of choice is a unique capacity, unique faculty of the mind, which has been given by God for all of us. But we have to exercise it properly. Here only the control of the mind or the discrimination, viveka, comes into picture. For example, I can be sincere and I can be cheating. I can be sincere and honest and I can be working, and I can be cheating people. Whether people know it or not, whether people may not be able to understand, but I'm doing it and I have to bear for that. I can tell truth and I can tell lie. And very interestingly, I can eat shamelessly and I can eat discriminatively. There's a beautiful some desserts and there's beautiful different type of food delicacies in front of the table. Now I'm foodie and I like all of them, and I ate so much and had a diarrhea, lose motion, or bad stomach, and that's why my master used to tell, eat shamelessly and suffer silently. But we eat shamelessly, but we don't suffer silently. Anyhow, so that's a one possibility. The other possibility is people can be discriminated. Okay, I'm interested in all these things. I like food. There are different food delicacies here. Okay, I will take. Yeah, if I'm desiring, if my mind is desiring, I will say no. I My stomach is filled. Tomorrow I shall take. And there are some other time. That's no, never mind, because probably tomorrow is not going to end my life. My life is not going to end tomorrow. So let me enjoy it after some time. So we can use the discrimination. We can control our desires, and we can behave responsibly. So integrity of a personality is very, very important. I should be responsible for my desires. I should be responsible for my control. I cannot simply blame others. So that's where controlling of the mind is very, very important. Why we suffer, most of us? Because the lack of control. I am not able to control my emotions. For example, many times because of some, while we're discussing with some friends or colleagues, or family members or XYZ, suddenly because of some reason we react, and because of that we lose relationships, we lose people, or we hurt people, and afterwards we say, and afterwards we feel, oh, I should not have done that. So at that given point of time, I was not able to control my emotions, I was not able to control my ego, I was not able to control my instincts. So what's the difference between animal and human being? Human being is also an animal, Homo sapien, that's fine. But the Vedanta says that the animals, they live at the level of instincts. The dog, it behaves as instinct. It can be tamed, fine, but generally they live at the level of instincts. If we are also working at the level of instincts, we are also behaving at the level of instincts, then except the body, we don't have any difference between a human being and an animal. Then what you should do? Swami Vivekananda beautifully says that from instinct we should rise to the level of intelligence. What should I do? What should I not do? Why should I do? Why should I not do? How should I do? How should I not do? Why I should behave in such and such a fashion? Why I should not behave in such and such a fashion? All this discrimination. Using the intelligence, I have to tame myself. I have to control myself. I have to purify myself. Purified. So this is what intelligence. And Swami Vivekananda says that not only intelligence, you have to travel afar. You have to evolve yourself to the intuition. If you ask me what is the life journey is nothing but three I: instinct, intelligence, intuition. Dhiyo yona prachodayat, when we say Gayatri mantra, that dhi means what? Intuition. All these rishis, spiritual scientists, they have that intuition. So we have to travel ourselves from the instinct to intelligence, from intelligence to intuition. So for this, control of mind is very, very important. And control of mind also includes developing good habits, constructive habits, because these habits and thoughts can be constructive and it can be destructive. So wealthy habits can be there, and unhealthy habits also can be there. So all these things has to be well thought over. I think in this regard, Swami Virjananda makes a beautiful point. Various kinds of obstructions spring up without warning for him, whose mind is attached to worldly objects, even if he retires to the forest. But if a person is engaged in good work and controls the five sense organs, even though he lives at home, that itself is tapasya, practicing austerity. The home of a man without any attachment or with a controlled mind is itself is tapovana, great hermitage. Thus says the Hitopadesha. So wherever you may go, whatever you may do, with the mind uncontrolled, you will inevitably have to suffer. You have to end up with misery. There will be no escape. Besides, you will also be entangled in varieties of newer and unthought of bondages. But for one who can bring his mind under control by spiritual practices, by willful practices, who is free from attachment to the unhealthy things, or through living in the world, home or forest is just the same. Wherever he may live, whatever he may do, he is ever free and full of bliss. So whether you are a monk or an householder, whether you are living in a forest or in a monastery or in the house, it doesn't matter really not to the larger extent. If you have got a controlled mind, wherever you live, then you have got a self-mastery, then you can be peaceful, you can be happy. Otherwise, if you go to heaven also, you can convert it to hell. That's what you say. Virjananji is saying that. So all these things, values, if you really closely, if you see, all this can be classified under either Yama or Niyama in Patanjali Sutras. Now the last one is Satya, speaking truth. So one has to be honest, one has to speak the truth. So Sri Ramakrishna says, Master says, speaking truth is the greatest austere in this Kali Yuga, in this present age. By following the truth, one can attain the God, because that is the greatest austerity in this age. So what we mean truth is what? I have to have a synchronization between my word, by my speech, by thought and action. That's what Taittiriya Upanishad says. Satyam vada dharmam chara. Means speak the truth. Satyam vada dharma machara. Follow the dharma. Dharma means it is not a religion here. Follow the ethics and morality, and there should be a consonance with one's speech, thought, and action. I think something and I speak something. For example, sometimes, oh, how good you are, we speak, and inside we will be thinking that this fellow is such a rogue. So my action, my speech, and my thought, there is no coherency. So Sri Ramakrishna says the same thing in a beautiful Sanskrit, two words, manmuk ekaro. Whatever you think and whatever you speak, it should be same. Then immediately the question will come, then whatever I think, should I speak everything? Should I not use any filter? Should I not use common sense? No, we should do that. So scriptures are also very clear about it. One scripture called Manusmruti, he beautifully tells about this. Satyam bruyat priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam apriyam. Priyam cha nanrutam bruyat, yesha dharma sanatana. So the Sanatana Dharma tells Satyam bruyat. Speak whatever it is true. You should speak always whatever is true. Then Priyam bruyat. And the truth also should be sweet. Sweet truth. Fine. Nabruyat satyam apriyam. Do not speak the bitter truth unnecessarily. Sometimes you may have to speak fine, but as much as possible, we should avoid it. And okay, so I have to speak truth. I have to speak sweet truth. First is I have to speak truth, and second is I am supposed to speak sweet truth, and try to avoid bitter truth, which can create some problems or which can hurt unnecessarily. If there is a really necessity, fine. Then what about untruth? Then he says, Priyanchananrutam bruyat. No, you should never speak lie. And not only that, you should not speak even pleasant untruth. Bitter truth we should not speak, because it's though it's untruth, but it is a pleasant to hear or pleasant to speak. Can I speak? No. So you cannot speak untruth, and you cannot speak neither pleasant nor bitter nor harsh untruth. So we have to speak truth always. That's what we tell very clearly. So same thing we can see in the life of all the great people. For example, in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. In the way back, it is when he was a student in a school days. So that because it was a British India, one British officer was supposed to come for a school inspection. In those days, it used to happen. So the teacher has told very clearly that, look, we will be having a discussion on this particular class, which is in English. So I will be giving a dictation and you have to do well. So everyone said well. Then the English classes were going on. Then inspector came. Then the inspector asked the teacher, what are you doing? He said, he or she said, I am discussing English particular lesson. Then he didn't ask any particular topic. He said, okay, I will give a dictation for 10 words. Then I will check. Randomly, he gave 10 words. He dictated 10 words. He asked them to everyone to write. So everyone wrote 10 words. Among them one was kettle. So this Gandhi, while writing, he made a mistake, spelling mistake of kettle. So his fellow friend who was sitting next to him, he observed and he said, look, Gandhi, you have made a mistake. So please see my writing and correct your mistake. Gandhi said, no, I will not do. Why? Because that is copying you. It will not be right. So I will not do that. Then he tried to convince him, but anyway, he didn't do. And the inspector randomly he checked the papers of the students, and somehow he checked the Gandhi's notebook also. There 9 were right and 1 was wrong. That is kettle spelling. Then he made a remark that okay, this boy has written a wrong spelling. So he asked the teacher to correct it. Then find the inspector left, and I think the teacher was asking, why were you not aware? Why did you do this, etc. Then the friend said, teacher, I said for him, this fellow, to look my book and to write because he had written wrongly, but he said, no, I will not do that, which is unfortunate or whatever he said, his friend said. Then Gandhi kept quiet. Then Gandhi's teacher, he really applauded and saying that no, whatever Gandhi did, it is right, because we are not supposed to copy the answers from someone's in booklets or notebook. Gandhi might have done a mistake of the kettle spelling, but he followed the truth. That is very nice. So you see, all the great people, they followed the truth. You can see in the life of Ramakrishna or Jesus or Paigambar or even Saint Francis of Assisi, for an example, and in the Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda, all of them, all the great spiritual luminaries, they all followed the truth. Because why? Truth is God. For example, what is the Sanskrit derivation? Sanskrit word for truth is what? Satya. And this Satya comes from the word Sat. Again, Sat is what? Is Brahman or Atman or consciousness or self or supreme self. So the truth, that's why Swami Vivekananda says, the truth can be equated to the God. By following a truth, one can reach God. One can attain God, as Sri Ramakrishna spoke. So we have to speak truth. So these are the 5 ways which are the best means to attain self-realization or God realization. So what are the 5 S's? One is seva, that is selfless action or service or karma yoga. Then the second is swadhyaya, that is self-study scriptures and understanding oneself. Then the third is sanyama, controlling the mind. Then the fourth one is satya, that is truth. And the fifth one is we have already discussed, which is sadhana, that is practice. So one, according to Swami Virajananji, one who practices this 5 years, one can reach God, one can have experience of who am I or what I am, and one's life will be free from this cycle of samsara, that is cycle of birth and death. May He and the Holy Trio bless all of us so that we can experience the truth and we can be free from the cycle of birth and death. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.